Page 36, Take Me Home Country Roads. Few things to point out here. This piece is in C major, no sharps or flats. It's in cut time, meaning 2-2, meaning half notes get a count. So 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Quarter notes get a half a count. But with the metronome, you get a metronome's beating half notes. 1, 2, quarter notes. 1 and 2 and, so at the beginning it's like that. As far as the right hand goes, just follow the fingering they're showing here. It works out really well. I'll just point out a few of the minor little things that make sure you catch them okay. For instance, the last measure of the first line there on page 36 in the right hand, those 2 quarter notes, 4th finger on those, because you got an E coming up in the next measure. Then you're in this position, but in the second line, second measure, you want to come down with the index finger to the A, and that changes you to this position. Now what you can do if you want, there's nothing wrong with it, is starting with the second line there on page 36, you're here. You could play the first A with the thumb and then use index fingers for the other. So it's this way. That's fine too. On the third line on page 36, in the right hand, second measure. Notice the fingering, 2, then 3 on the C's, and then 5 on the E's. I don't see anything else to look out for? Yes, I do. Okay. Over on page 37, third line down, look at the second measure. Now you're playing the half note E with the second finger from the measure before, it's tied over. But now with the 8th notes, you're going to use 3rd finger on E. Alright, so be aware that you want the 3rd finger on that first 8th note. For the last chord in the last measure on page 37 in the right hand, they have a 2-5 and then they have a 1 in parentheses, which to me means it's an alternate fingering. Use whichever one you want. I recommend the 2-5 because your C here, the measure before, you're playing middle C and it's connected. I mean, it's not slurred, but it's still connected. So use 2-5 on it. The left hand isn't a lot going on. You got chords. If you get the chords, not bad. You just have to figure out what the chords are. Try and get all the notes down at the same time. Over on page 37 at the top would be the last 3 measures of the first line. You're in octaves. In the last measure it's a B and a 3. Then the second line, second measure, thumb on the A. Okay. The last line on page 37 in the left hand, it's the last 2 measures. For those 8th notes, the first 8th note, that F, is with the second finger. It's what's marked, I'm just pointing it out to you. There is an RIT right there, which I'm going to ignore because I'm using a metronome, but when you do it on your own, you can slow down and get louder. So it gets louder right there at the end. Now, you have on the last chord of the piece a line, okay? So the to neutral line, you're playing it loud anyway. You want to hold that just a hair longer than 2 counts. So, well, 1 count because you're in cut time. So it'd be 1, 2. Just let it hang over just a hair. Not much, just a hair. How much is a hair? I don't know, it's a little bit. Now, be careful on the tied notes. Make sure you get the tied notes held over. For instance, over on page 36, second line, the last 3 measures of the sort of that you have here. That C is tied over to the next measure. So you can hold it down while you play the chord again. So make sure you do that. Over on page 37, second line, second measure, that C is held down while you're doing your half notes in the left hand. So it's tied, and then you can go on. Then that's held down. So you have several tied notes here. Make sure you hold those down the full length. Let's try this piece out and see what happens. Now we're going to take it kind of fast. I have the metronome set on 60, but it's beating half notes. So let's try it out and see. There's no pedal in this, of course. You didn't need to know that. There's no pedal in any of these. So the left hand is here, right hand's here. Give us 4 counts, 4 half notes, and then we come in together. 1, 2, ready, go.